Hello everyone, today I'm going to be checking out Gu-eum Bakery, which is a Korean bakery known for their cakes and madeleines and other sorts of small pastries and treats. This is a really small family-run bakery, and I thought they had some really interesting and uniquely Korean pastries, so let's go. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the different types of cakes that we can find. I just made it back from Gu-eum Bakery. We have such a wide variety of different pastries and treats, so let's get right into it. I'm going to start off with the Matcha Meline, and I'm really looking forward to this because I love matcha and it looks really nice and dark and heavy on the matcha powder. This is a great madeleine. I love the light and airy fluffy texture, and I also love the size. It's super large and it's also really nice and thick, and I love the matcha glaze on top that really adds a nice rich and intense and earthy matcha flavor, and there's even a little bit of smooth matcha cream in there. And I've never had a madeleine with cream before, and it's a great pairing. Now I'm going to go for a lemon lime madeleine, and I feel like this is more of a traditional French flavor. Looks like there's just a thin glaze on top and a little bit of lime and lemon zest. Wow, I really love the zesty, fresh flavor in this one. You really taste that lemon and lime zest. It's really like a punch in the face because you really get that nice thin layer of the glaze, and it tastes like it's made with a little bit of lemon juice as well. So it's nice and tart and bright and aromatic, and it goes great with this really fluffy madeleine. The only thing is it is a little bit on the dry side, so you might want some tea with it, but this would make for like a perfect afternoon tea pairing. Now let's go for the Earl Grey tea madeleine. And this smells really aromatic. I mean, if you look really closely, I can even see the little bits of tea leaves that's in the cream on top. So I have a feeling this one's gonna be pretty intense and strong, just like the other two. Whoa, this one really surprised me. The second you bite into it, you just get such a nice, perfect, and satisfying crunch from the white chocolate on top, and it's infused with Earl Grey tea. But really where you get a lot of Earl Grey tea flavor is the cream inside. It's just like a flavor bomb. You just get all this aromatic tea spreading throughout your mouth as you bite into the cake. This is so satisfying. It's a really tasty little treat. Now for the brown butter financer, and it looks like it's covered in some sort of caramely sticky glaze, so I have a feeling this is going to be really tasty. It almost looks like the outside of a Gu-eum sort of because of all the sticky syrup. This is such a decadent financer. The outside is probably my favorite part. I really love that sort of syrup. It's almost like crystallized and it's really crunchy. It basically just reminds me of a deeply earthy and nutty brown butter toffee, and that goes really well with this really light and airy financer. It's so buttery and rich and decadent, but it's oh so satisfying. Now for the matcha walnut cookie, and it looks like there's a little bit of walnuts and white chocolate chips in here. This is a really interesting cookie. The texture of it is almost like a shortbread cookie. It's really thick and crunchy, and it's a bit on the dry side, so I think it would be better as a thin cookie because I do love the matcha flavor and all the nuts and chocolate chips in here, so this needs to be a little bit thinner, and then this would be a real winner. Now I'm going to be moving on to our cakes. This is the strawberry sponge cake. This is amazing. This is just like biting into a strawberry flavor cloud. Every single layer of the cake is almost light and airy. It almost has the texture of the cream itself because it's that light. And of course the whipped cream tastes really nice and dense, which I love because you really get a nice rich creamy flavor. And I like that they sliced the strawberries really thin in there so it doesn't make the cake soggy at all. This is like perfect all around. Now for the sweet potato cake, and I'm really looking forward to this one because I love sweet potato in any sort of dessert or pastry, and I have a feeling sweet potatoes are going to go great in this cake. Oh, this is incredible as well. It definitely reminds me a little bit of the strawberry cake. The cake has a very similar taste. The only difference is it's a little bit more sturdy because they alternate it with layers of cream as well as layers of sweet potato paste. And it actually tastes more of like a yam, but the pairing is really nice. I love how that flavor goes with the cream, and it goes surprisingly well with the cake. This is a really great thing to try if you're into trying sweet potato sort of desserts, because this is amazing. Next is their crumble cake, and this is really interesting because I can already smell it, and it smells like Japanese kanako or roasted soybean powder topped on this, so I'm not sure if that's a popular Korean thing as well, or maybe it's something entirely different. Wow, this is actually a pleasant surprise for me. This definitely does remind me, and actually it just tastes exactly like Japanese kanako, roasted soybean powder. I'm usually not a big fan of it, but in this cake it works really nicely. You got that nice deep earthy aroma that often is too overpowering for me, but it's really not. It goes great with the cream, which really mellows it out, and I love the cake because it tastes exactly like that same cake that was part of strawberry cake, so really light and airy and fluffy, and that goes great with that kanako. I'm really curious about this one. This I think is the most unique item I've ever seen. This is sweet corn cheesecake, and it looks like there's some sort of dollop of cream, or maybe it's some sort of cream cheese butter. I'm not exactly sure what it is on top, but I'm really curious about this because how could corn possibly go into cheesecake? This is just as interesting as I thought it would be, and it actually kind of works. I really do like corn in like a sweet treat like this because it just pairs really nicely as you bite into it. You get a nice little pop as you bite into each corn kernel. But one thing I will say with this is I feel like the cheesecake is missing a crust since it's crustless. So you really have to like that rich cream cheese flavor because that's mainly dominating flavor in this, other than the pieces of corn. And also on top, you have a little bit of whipped cream mixed with butter. So it's really rich and a little bit on the heavy side. Finally, I'm going to be trying out their Matcha Tiramisu. This I'm the most curious about. I'm usually not a big fan of tiramisu since I'm not a big coffee person, but this looks and I believe is just made with matcha because it's so green, and I'm just addicted to anything matcha. I mean, I enjoyed the other matcha things earlier, but I think this Matcha Tiramisu is something that's really unique and that I've never seen before. Well, this is really interesting. It is so insanely sweet. That's the first thing I tasted. Just a burst of sweetness as the cream melts over my tongue. And those ladyfingers do have a really nice texture. They're really light and they basically just melt in your mouth because they're so soft and sort of absorb that cream. And I do love the intense and slightly bitter matcha flavor. However, you really do have to like very sweet things because this is just like one sugar bomb. You all should definitely check out Gu-eum Bakery if you're in the mood to try out a Korean bakery, because they have some really rare items like that corn cheesecake or sweet potato cake, which I really loved, and you can't find stuff like that anywhere else. Some of my favorites include the sweet potato cake, crumble cake, and Earl Grey Madeline. I guarantee that if you try those, you are not going to be disappointed. Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.